Hello, boys and girls, this is Odyssey, of course, and welcome back to some more Battlefield 4 kick-ass gameplay. Again, clusterfuck. I don't know why, but this is just the map where I excel at basically kicking ass. A lot of flanking, a lot of surprise butt sex, and this time, the M240 LMG, I think that's the name of it. It high-powered, basically like the PKP Persinger. I don't know, screw it. Anyways, some good old-fashioned kick-ass gameplay, and since it's becoming Christmas now really quickly, it's the 18th today, and it's only 6 days left, less than a week until it's actually Christmas Eve. You celebrate Christmas in Sweden. Christmas Day, not so much. I mean, it's still Christmas on Christmas Day, but we already open our presents actually during Christmas Eve, so quite interesting if you're American or don't live in Europe. Might also be different in Europe, I'm not gonna say for sure, but my family isn't very religious or anything like that, but we still celebrate Christmas because it's kind of like a family tradition, so to say. And the things that I usually do around this holiday season is go home to my parents and spend a couple of days there, sleep over there, and like basically feel like a kid again, getting Christmas presents and having my mom cook my food for me again, and getting like really spoiled. And of course I buy some really nice gifts for my parents and that kind of stuff as well, so I'm not some selfish pig, so to say. Kind of a pig, but not a selfish pig. So I thought I would do what I usually do during Christmas, and that is to tell you guys kind of how me and my family celebrates Christmas. I don't want to be too specific about things because like I'm happy about telling you guys about my personal secrets and what I like to do in my private life and that kind of stuff, but I don't want to drag in my family that too much because like they're not doing this as a living. I am. But simply what I do is I go home to my parents around I would say the 23rd, usually the day we go home. We buy with us some Julmust. Julmust is a kind of a weird Swedish drink that's kind of a mix between beer and Coca-Cola, and also a little bit of like the lagerad, the taste that that the whiskey has, basically kind of a taste of sweet sugar and like smoky flavors from oak barrels, basically. Julmust is quite a delicious drink if you like it, so to say. Most people love it in Sweden. It's not like surströmming that you might have heard of, but that is like not loved by everyone in Sweden. That's loved by maybe 5% of Swedish people. Julmust and påskmust basically means, I guess you could translate it to Christmas fizz and Easter fizz. It's only the times of the year when it's actually available in stores, and it's the only drink that ever outsells Coca-Cola. During Christmas, more Julmust is bought than Coca-Cola. It's the complete opposite in the entirety of the rest of the world. More Coca-Cola is bought in every other country in the world during Christmas than any other drink, but in Sweden it's completely different. We drink Julmust instead. So I mean, like, no offense to Coke, but I mean, like, Julmust, you kind of have to have Julmust. And the thing is that there's a lot of different kinds of Julmust as well. There's like extra expensive ones, and there's like normal ones, and there's kind of crappy ones from cheap ass companies that just want to make a buck. But usually it's Nygårda or Apotekarna that makes the best ones. But I found one actually at a store called Dollar Store, where they sold 1 liter glass bottles of the stuff, but it was like 3 times as expensive as normal Julmust, and it was only about like twice as good, but still it was fucking tasty. So I go home at the 23rd, and I sleep in my old boy room. I might actually be able to film that a little bit and show you guys how my old boy room looks like, but it's kind of my mom and dad's computer room now, so it's not really that big of a thing. It doesn't look like when I lived there, sadly, any longer. They basically remodeled it completely and like repainted and that kind of stuff. So, but I might be able to maybe do some kind of a quick recording with my camera on my phone or something like that. I don't know. I'm gonna try to take some Christmas photos and that kind of stuff too, like what my parents allow me to do. Because honestly, like again, like I don't want to infringe on their privacy, my own privacy of my home and that kind of stuff. I'm happy to share that with you guys, but you always have to like ask your beloved ones in your family if you can freaking videotape them and show them to tens of thousands of people. Otherwise, they might get a little bit pissed off. So yeah, I'd go home there at the 23rd. I usually stay for 2 or 3 nights, so I go home around the 26th or the 27th. A couple of relatives usually come over, like a couple of them each day, and like have some food and that kind of stuff. And in Sweden we eat a very typical kind of food that kind of is summed up in one single word, and that is julbord. Basically means Christmas table, and it is a ton of small dishes that you take a little bit of everything, so it's kind of like a Christmas buffet, so to say, and it is extremely popular. Like, people that don't have like a big family themselves, they usually go to a store, or not to a store, but to a restaurant instead, simply, and like eat julbord or Christmas table, so to say, or the Christmas buffet, and people just love it, and people gladly pay up to $100 just to eat that kind of food, to have it like specifically homemade, because it takes a lot of time, effort, and love, and not that super much money to make it, but it usually takes time, because it's dishes that need to be prepared with love many days ahead in advance and that kind of stuff. Some of the most favorite things on a Swedish Christmas table is ham, Christmas ham in tunnbrödsrullar, or basically thin bread sandwiches, and usually people like to have mustard on it as well, with of course they want butter as well, but in my family we kind of have a tradition of not just having mustard on it, but also mixing the mustard together with I think it's blackberry sauce, maybe, I'm not completely, or black currant berries or something like that I'm not 100% sure, but it is extremely tasty, and everyone I know that comes home to my parents' home, like my friends and stuff, and taste that kind of sauce, it's basically like a secret recipe. How to make it exactly, I'm just telling you like kind of how you make it, because it's like a family secret actually, so I can't tell you exactly how to make it, but like literally I have friends, grown-ass friends, that literally absolutely must have my mom's sauce. They love it. They absolutely love it. For example, one guy is the secret editor man, the other Anders, he just loves it. I think his family loves it too, so my mom usually makes like a bunch of extra jars so people can have it. And the thin bread is called tunnbröd in Swedish. That's a like direct translation, as you might notice that the words are quite similar. Thin bread and tunnbröd, quite similar, and it's a white bread that you bake it kind of like a pizza, and then you just put it kind of like in a pizza oven, like a stone brick oven or a electricity oven, like at the pizza place, and it's a little bit thinner than pizza crust, I would say, or pizza dough, but it is extremely tasty bread. Some like to have some spices in it, like cumin and that kind of stuff. Some hate that. My dad, for example, he hates the cumin in that bread. Like, if you put cumin in the bread, his Christmas is like ruined. He's gonna be fucking pissed off. And of course we have innelagd sill, or pickled herring, basically like small pieces of fish that you let soak in like vinegar and salt and pepper and god, what do you call it, onions and that kind of stuff, and then you eat that, and you eat the onions as well that have like soaked in the bath and gotten like sweet and sour kind of over a couple of days, together with sour cream, and it's just delicious. Some other favorite things are of course let's see, what have I mentioned? Julmust. I think I mentioned most of the stuff that are like quite typical for Christmas, but of course the Swedish meatballs, potatoes, also something called pölsa. I don't know actually a translation for that, so you guys just have to Google it, so to say. And as like I said, we open our Christmas presents actually around 3 o'clock on Christmas Eve, so around 3 o'clock at the 24th of December, and we open it whilst we're looking at Donald Duck, or as we say in Sweden, Kalle Anka. And it's not just Donald Duck, it's like a marathon of Disney movies and short sketches with like Långben and Mickey the Mouse and that kind of stuff. The thing is, like, all of these names are like well known in Swedish, but I don't really know the translation for all of them. But it's just an awesome, like, great experience. It isn't like, it's just simply a tradition we have. I mean, like, there's not like Swedish people are like obsessed with Disney or anything like that. It's just that's kind of the tradition, actually. And in my house we we put the stuff on the, we basically, we call it klägranen, basically clothe the tree. We do that the day before Christmas Eve, so the 23rd, that's when we do that. And it's usually a family affair of like putting on the Christmas lights, the nice and shiny stuff, a lot of like crap that me and my brother made as kids, like ornaments and decorations from the tree that we made by hand, like as kids in school, and like some really old stuff that are like 20, 30, 40 years old that you hang up there. Usually hang up some like candy canes, but usually like really cheap shit that you don't really eat, but you just hang them up there to look nice, and a star on top of the tree. And basically the Christmas tree is like lit basically 24/7, and we also have adventsljusstakar. Don't really know how to explain that one, but yeah, that's I wouldn't say that's about it. There's a lot more to talk about when it comes to the Swedish Christmas, but that's about it for this video. So I will probably mention some more of it actually in future videos. If you're interested, you can listen. I think most Swedish people are gonna find this interesting too, since a lot of traditions are quite different from one Swedish household to another one. So make sure to check out the comment section as well. Some other people from Sweden might post comments like how they celebrate Christmas, and feel free to post your comment if you celebrate Christmas way different in your country, because it's always fun to read about that kind of stuff as well. So as usual, thank you guys for watching, have a wonderful day, bye bye.